Let me be clear. For thousands of years, we Jews have developed an insidious mental construct that we need to be loved. We need everyone to like us. Now, that would be nice. Machiavelli said 500 years ago in Florence that you should want to be loved and feared. But if you have to choose, and October 7th has forced us to choose, then you need to choose being feared over being loved. The Jewish people have to be feared. Hamas has to fear the IDF. Hezbollah and disgusting, poisonous, reptilian Iran has to fear the Mossad. Just think about this for a moment. When Israel goes in the heart of Tehran and kills Ismail Haniyeh, and I feel really bad for him, because if I had $4 billion, I wish I could have lived longer and bought more hot tubs and more, Gulfstream 6s and all that wasted money now, which his children are now suing Erdogan for. When you do that in the heart of Tehran, what do you think Khamenei himself is thinking? He's thinking, uh-oh, I'm next. These Jews actually fight back. The same thing is true in media. Why aren't we going after the Candace Owens of the world, the most disgusting reptilian anti-Semite in America? Why aren't we going after Roger Waters? Why aren't we going after Tucker Carlson? President Trump, who spoke here at the IAC the other day as the most pro-Israel president in American history, what the heck is he doing with Tucker Carlson in his ear? Tucker Carlson's a Holocaust denier. Tucker Carlson just had a historian on, 42 million people watched it, who said the Holocaust, he's not a Holocaust denier. He admits that 6 million Jews died, but it wasn't a program of genocide. They were like prisoners of war. They died of disease. Cut the crap and stop desecrating the memory of our 6 million. And no American president, whether it's Biden or George Bush or greatest president for Israel, Trump, should be having people like that. And we have to go after the Tucker Carlsons of this world. I am tired of being a scared Jew. I am tired of quaking and shivering and trembling before our enemies. We are going to bring the fight to
of 2025, a strange video was posted by a man who thought he was just seeing things. It was shared on his social account, which primarily consists of places that he's traveled and family videos. This clip, however, is neither of those. Molina says that he took this video way back when he was waiting inside a hospital. As he was waiting, he heard a loud noise come from outside. He thought it came from the car that was parked out front, so he takes a closer look and notices something in the passenger seat. But that's strange, because as it seems, this vehicle has been abandoned for quite some time. Watch closely.
Estamos en este momento en el microhospital, escuchamos un golpe y nos dimos vuelta porque dijimos, bueno, ¿quién está entrando? Cuestión de que no hay nadie atrás nuestro. Y miramos dentro del auto y dijimos, oh, pues el auto, qué mierda es. Lo peor de todo es que no queremos salir. Un miedo, la puta madre. Lo peor de todo es que se mueve adentro el auto y no hay nadie. O sea, ahora vamos a ir a controlar el auto. Pero parece como si fuese un reflejo. La puta madre. Salimos rápido para que vean que no es mentira. Mamá, la piel de gallina, hermano. Piel de gallina. Cagazo. Nadie. O sea, nadie. Un montón. Es un montón. Mierda. Y encima nos mira la puta que te parió. No, chavo. No. Desapareció. La concha.
Perhaps thinking that someone was messing with him, he takes a closer look at the vehicle, but as he checks all around, he finds no one. If anyone was pulling a prank on him, the backseat would have been a convenient space to hide in. Yet, as we see, the space is clear. So understandably, Melina walks away, now feeling more scared. He takes another look, and out of nowhere, the face shows up again, only this time more terrifying than before. Freaked out, Melina ends the recording and shares the video on his page. It's the only recent video on there, which for some reason doesn't have much info or any context. But with or without it, this video is still pretty creepy. As with all videos, let me know your thoughts on this one.
When it comes to Hayden, were there any signs when you saw her last time in the studio? I know you like one of the last people to
I'm not going to say
interview
there
her.
were signs, but she was clearly still wobbly, and I still thought that she was still working things out, but you know, my heart sank when I heard what had happened to her.
Mine
I mean, we
too.
all think that, because she was still such a talent and seemed to be on the way. It was just heartbreaking to me, that's all.
Now, her mother did respond and say that there was like a certain individual that was kind of like in between their relationship. Did you see that comment that her mother made?
No, but when you read the book, you knew that there was something between her and the ex-boyfriend.
Right.
And many people thought that she had gotten past that. Clearly, you know, she hadn't. But you know, I prefer to concentrate on who she was when she was here. That's what I want people to remember. The light that she was. I really loved the father of her child, what he said about her. He said he wants to make sure that his daughter knows who the mother was and that she is held in such high regard. I was very, very, very touched by that. That to me is the most important thing. But it was just heartbreaking all around, and now we know that there's an investigation. We shall see. We just want her to rest. We just want her to rest in peace.
Made a statement via social media saying that that's not what they stand for. They made her feel uncomfortable while she was alive during that difficult time in her life. What do you think of that
statement? But you know, during that time, we weren't talking about postpartum. We were not talking about that. So I appreciate the fact that Neutrogena is acknowledging that and saying that, you know, they clearly are expressing some regrets, but back then we were not talking about it the way we're talking about it now. You know, it's like Angela used to always say, when you know better, you do better. I think that's a lesson for all.
Y'all are not taking this shit as serious as y'all supposed to be. China sent out a PSA to their citizens saying do not respond to aliens if you are contacted. You heard what I just said? And I know y'all don't understand this, so I did the honors. Look at this shit right here. Do not do it without permission. Basically, it's saying that if they are contacted by aliens, notify the United Nations immediately. If you go to Google, you will see China's state-backed regional media circulated a public announcement advising citizens not to independently reply to potential extraterrestrial signals. Mind you, scientists actually updated international protocols this year for what we're supposed to do if intelligent extraterrestrial life contact Earth. And one of the biggest rules, do not answer them on your own. And that warning, or rule if you want to call it, came from the International Academy of Astronautics. So they're basically saying that they want any responses discussed internationally before humanity sends anything back. That's enough proof right there. For our whole lives, they've been telling us aliens are on some conspiracy crazy shit. Now we actually have scientists developing rules about who gets to talk to them. Mind you, let's go back to the UPA files. Basically telling us that everything that we thought wasn't real was real. And now this is where things get much scarier. Why are they suddenly becoming more comfortable discussing it? Why are UFO files being released? Why are scientists updating alien contact protocol? And why is there now a warning circulating? And then after you tell me that, tell me why we wasn't informed. Why didn't we get a warning? Like I always tell you, it's nothing new under the sun. And when they tell you to look left, you gotta look right. I told y'all in the beginning we was gonna see some shit in 2026.
Alright, so how many of y'all remember watching Mermaids, The Body Found? You know, that supposed mockumentary that Animal Planet put out in 2012? You know, it was kind of like our generation's War of the Worlds, in the sense that when War of the Worlds came out, it was on a radio broadcast, and it was done so well that people didn't think it was actually a radio broadcast because a lot of it was in news format, so people were actually freaking out thinking aliens were invading us. Obviously, Mermaid's Body Found was not exactly aliens attacking us, but a lot of people truly believed that that was a real documentary and they was exposing everything that they had found about mermaids. People believed it so much that it prompted official statements from agencies like the NOAA clarifying that no evidence of aquatic humanoids have ever been found. I personally freaking loved this documentary when it came out, and it even dived into the aquatic ape theory. I mean, it could have been a real documentary, and then when people freaked out, Animal Planet had to pull back and say that all of it was actually just fake. You know, I believe mermaids could be real, but I'm just not quite sure that this documentary was actually exposing what is real. And I'm talking like sea creatures, not biblical mermaids. I think sea creatures are probably real.
How many Jews do you think were killed in the Holocaust?
271K at best.
6 million. Wrong.
You think it's 6 million?
I know it's 6 million.
Are you Jewish?
What do you think?
Probably. Are we surprised at this point?
What are you going to do about it?
So, okay, let's go through this.
What are you going to do?
Are you Israeli or no?
Am I what?
Are you Israeli or no?
No.
American, but Jewish? Jewish American?
Yeah, Jews exist everywhere.
Sure, okay. So, do you think that Israel did a genocide?
That's a complicated question.
Oh.
I think, yes, there is some statistical data to back that up, but I also think that, you know, playing devil's advocate, Netanyahu's not really doing a good job of what he wants to do.
Okay.
He's an idiot.
So I knew it. She's pro-Israel. Okay, great. So that's fine. So let's go through this, right? You asked me about the Holocaust. 6 million, blah, blah, blah. You think it's 6 million.
Israel was formed as a reaction to the Holocaust.
What was that?
Israel, as a nation, was formed reactionary to the Holocaust.
They use that excuse, but it was actually formulated before that. But that's fine. Well, let's go through with this Holocaust thing, and then you're
Google
asking me about
right
this.
there.
So let me ask you this. So I think everybody here, besides yourself, and a bunch of people here would agree that what we saw over the past couple of years was actually a genocide. Netanyahu, Yoav Gallant, they have warrants out for their arrest. B'Tselem, which is a human rights organization based out of Israel itself, said it was a genocide. Almost every genocide expert pretty much agrees that what happened in Gaza was a genocide by definition because it's the extermination of a people in whole or in part, okay? And we witnessed it. Hold on, let me finish my point. We not only did we see that. Hold on, one sec, Jew, hold on.
Not just part of it, an entire group.
No.
Where do you think
it's
that
the
over
definition,
half of the entire world's Jews are supposed to go?
Let me finish my point, and because you asked me a
people?
question, I'm trying to answer it for you, okay? What your opinion really on it is irrelevant because genocide experts have all agreed that what happened and every human rights organization has agreed that what happened in Gaza over the past couple of years was a genocide, okay?
Which human rights organization?
Now, the Israeli government and yourself will deny that it's a genocide. Fine, no problem.
I'm not like working with the Israeli government or anything. Like,
I'm saying you and the Israeli government, like you agree, you have their agreement where you would not classify it as a genocide, which is fine. But we witnessed in 1080p, in 4K in some ways, them bombing and killing kids for damn near 2 years. And they sit there and they tell you it's not a genocide. Well, let me ask you this then. If they could deny a genocide in 2023 all the way to 2026 with 1080p footage, what makes you think they won't lie about a tragic event from World War II from which they derive their victim narrative, they derive a lot of Hollywood movies, they derive their entire identity around? You don't think they'll lie about that?
So a narrative other than yours is just completely null and void?
Say that
Like,
again?
there's really no possibility that everyone is lying about this?
About the Holocaust or the genocide?
Israel.
You're missing the point. You're missing the point. I'm saying the same people that say it was 6 million deny a genocide that happened in front of us. You don't think that they would lie when there were no camera footage and there was way less evidence?
Can you pull up some footage?
Of Gaza getting bombed?
Yeah. Look it up. If you have the facts to back it up, let me see.
Okay, you can, do this. Go on Twitter, type in Gaza, and you're gonna see kids getting bombed and killed, literally blown into pieces.
Okay.
Okay?
If I look up
And with all that footage, Israel still says it wasn't a genocide. So I'm not gonna believe them that it was 6 million.
I watched videos of Israeli women getting raped, and people like you say they deserve it because of their nationality. It's wrong. It's fucked up.
Okay. Yeah, they tortured kids. Yeah, you're right. Well, number one,
Tortured Israeli children too.
Number one, I never said that they deserved the rape, ever. That's you're misquoting me. Number two, do you have proof of the rapes?
Do I have proof of what exactly?
The rapes.
The rapes?
Yeah, because I saw that 40-minute video you're referring to. There was no rapes in it.
Let me see.
And there were no beheaded babies either.
Here, I'll let someone else ask a question. I'm going to look this up, and can you come back to me?
Go for it.
All right, cool.
But there's no beheaded babies, babies in ovens, all lies. All lies. And the lie came, you can look it up. A guy named Yossi Landau. He was one of the first people to make that lie up that he saw beheaded babies when he first arrived on the scene. And then when they pressed him on it, what did he say? Oh, I was using my imagination. Like what? That claim that he made was ran with the whole Western world and Netanyahu to justify the aggression against Gaza. So, hey, it's if they could lie about that, I don't think it's 6 million. When we all have evidence of the contrary to what they were.
This kind of brings a all new meaning to sacrificing your firstborn son, don't you think? This is the hoax, though. Giselle is the body of a male, born a male. Her sister was born a female. This is the distraction. Let me tell you that there is a woman running this psyop, I promise to God. So basically, as you can see, the Freemasons and Jesuits, we're going to change that word to Catholic, and this is a Mother's Day gift to my mother-in-law. Did I ever mention to you that my daughter's father's dad killed himself? She tried to get it changed on the birth certificate to accidental death. They ruled that shit as suicide. So basically, the Freemasons and Jesuits worship a physical depiction of Satan known as the transgender transhuman Baphomet deity or demon, having both male penis and female breast genitalia, while being part satanic goat. This is why they are the true accredited founders of transgenderism, LGBTQ, and transhumanism. GMO, human hybrids merged with AI, another species, nanotechnology, and or robotics. For example, a common Illuminati initiation ritual in honor of the Baphomet deity is to sacrifice a firstborn child or raise them transgender of their biological sex. So they change the sex of these babies in the womb. This is the first version of the story that I heard, and this is the version that I believe. Happy Mother's Day, Fanny. So basically, the transgender human agenda is designed to confuse and blur the two genders of society, feminizing men and masculinizing women, encouraging bisexuality. Did I tell you that Michael pimped me out to my first girl, got me on cocaine and ecstasy, and then I went wild with meth and I went to prison while they raised my daughter? Do you think this is the agenda? So basically, it encourages bisexuality, homosexuality, and pedophilia. Is this sounding about right? Okay, God said that if you don't listen to this exact next part to have the worst karma of your life. These are IVF babies. My daughter's father, as you can see, is one. With greater molecular control over development, we are increasingly capable of producing novel phenotypes, more feminine men, by blocking testosterone receptors or castration. This is done in the womb. And at the same time, increasing estrogen production. One blocks female features, the second encourages female features. More masculine men, heavy testosterone dosage, incredible external effects, heavily bearded men. You would never guess they had a female bone in their body. So basically, it's going to go on to tell you that contrast the poor female to male versions. They are unhappy and lonely. They are men with mum-pums, the worst of both worlds. Is this why he was such a fucking cocksucker bitch? And why Jeff Epstein's so fucking angry? Is this making a little bit more sense now? They did this to corporate America. Every boss I've ever had the wrong fucking skull, bro.
So do you guys remember how a lot of us were telling you how climate lockdowns are going to start hitting because of how easily it was to dupe the world on COVID lockdowns? Do you guys remember? So this is St. George, my neck of the woods. With demand for electricity high across the region due to heat, the city of St. George issued its first orange alert of the season on Tuesday. The call for energy conservation has extended into Wednesday. The city has also offered residents a way to conserve water by signing up for an app that can help track water usage and highlight potential leaks. So it turns out this is what happens when you spray the ever-living hell out of the skies to mess with the weather.
That's what activated what was an academic theory for decades, this New World Order, Great Reset. It wasn't even mentioned by the World Economic Forum until 2014. Once COVID lockdowns came, in the words of the House of Commons Speaker, I think his name was Lindsay, he said, amazed at how compliant the public was during COVID. Now it's time to go after climate. They knew that they had conditioned us to accept and be compliant, and now they want to pounce on climate, and that's really what's propelling the Great Reset.
What we learned from this COVID crisis, we will be applying to the climate crisis, to the housing crisis, to reconciliation, to making sure that everyone has good jobs and careers that carry them through and create opportunities for their kids.
Effective 4 p.m. today, we're telling Nova Scotians, stay out of the woods. We are restricting travel and activities that really aren't necessary for most of us. Hiking, camping, fishing, and the use of vehicles in the woods are not permitted. Trail systems through woods are off limits. Camping is allowed, but only in official campgrounds. The fine for violating any of these bans is the same as the fine for the ban on burning, $25,000.
Now do you understand why they needed to have all these fires? Oh, by the way, this is in Greece. Crete, I think. Oh, and guess who was arrested? And then when you do a little bit of homework, just dating back, you know, because you can look these things up. That's weird.
I will say, by the way, the idea of taking nutrients from your sun,
it's crazy. Yeah.
To give to yourself is pretty awesome.
You think it's awesome?
I mean, most people, they are always these parents, you know, always say like, oh, you know, I love my kid more than anything. This guy is stealing from his kid to live longer, and it probably won't even make him live any longer. It's just going to ruin his son's life because everybody's like, holy shit, are you the guy with that dad who's stealing your blood?
Well, it's not stealing if he agrees to it.
Crazy family of nutheads.
Isn't he giving his blood to his own dad too?
Does anyone else find this strange? This was Hayden Panettiere's final ad. 2 weeks prior to her passing away, she did this ad right here. And again, it involves a bathtub, and that is very interesting stuff. Now, she did this ad because of dolphins in captivity, but still, the fact that it involves a bathtub. I've seen this bathtub stuff many times through the years with these celebrities. I mean, here is one of many examples when it comes to the bathtub stuff. So you tell me what is going on here, but maybe all of this is just one big coincidence, right? I also find that hand sign very interesting that she's doing in this ad. I mean, you all can see it for yourselves, and I've seen a lot of other people do this hand sign right here. So, gee, I wonder what all of this means. But maybe there is nothing to this at all because, again, she was doing this for dolphins and stuff in captivity, right? But again, you all tell me what is going on here.
Guys, robots inside of the Great Pyramid just reached a stone door that nobody has gone through in over 4,500 years. And Egypt is currently saying that they're finally about to open it this year so they can see what's behind it. So actually, a few years ago, scientists scanned the Great Pyramid with cosmic rays, which are basically like an X-ray, and they found a hidden corridor that nobody even knew was there. They're saying that the corridor is about 30 feet long, and it's actually sitting right above the main entrance. At the end of it, they're saying saying that they found a stone door that no human has ever walked through in history, and Egypt is finally going in this year to be able to open it. They already went and slipped a tiny camera through a gap that they found in the stones just so they could see the first look of what's inside. Guys, if you want to make sure that you do not miss it whenever they finally open that door, you need to make sure you go ahead and add me now, because I'm obviously gonna post it. And whatever they find back there, they're saying that it could rewrite entire history for how the pyramids were built. If you want to make sure you do not miss it, again, make sure you add me now, because I'm obviously gonna...
I told ChatGPT to generate me a scientifically accurate image of the Earth from the biblical standpoint. And this is exactly what it showed me. It didn't show me a globe. And you know how the Christians in the church, they're always talking about like outer space and dinosaurs and saying that the Bible says that the Earth is a globe? Really? Because ChatGPT says otherwise. And here's the thing, you can actually put this theory to the test with real scientific observations. You can, for example, zoom in on a ship that appeared to go over the curving horizon, and you can make it reappear again with either nice binoculars or a telescope or even a camera. The Nikon P1000. You can also take the Nikon P1000 and zoom into stars that look absolutely nothing like what NASA shows us. It doesn't look like a big fiery ball of gas that's trillions and trillions of miles away. It's right there. And the same thing goes for the sun. It's not some giant fiery ball of gas, and it is nothing like all of the other stars. And it is clearly very, very local. That's why we have something called crepuscular light rays, where the light is coming out of this spherical object, this orb in the sky, and it's diverging in every single angle. So you can see the light diverging out of this local light. If it was 93 million miles away, that would not be possible. And have you seen the eclipse that just happened? Does that look like a giant rock eclipsing the sun? No, it doesn't. It looks nothing like that. So either the moon is not what we are told it is, or the moon is not eclipsing the sun. But of course, I made this video entirely for entertainment purposes only.
This pack of Walmart chicken is already underweight in the package, and you're not going to believe by how much. I'm going to show you, then we're going to open it up and see how much the chicken weighs. That's what we're supposed to be paying for. Out of all the stores that I have found them in so far, one store I weighed 21 packages and 11 of them were underweight up to a quarter ounce. The package I'm about to show you is the biggest short weighted so far. All right, let's calibrate our scale. 100 gram weight, 100 grams. All right, here we go. This is supposed to weigh 5.5 pounds, 5.5 pounds out of the package. 4.92. All right, as you can see, I've already teared our container up. We're sitting at 0. Here's our pack of chicken. Let's see what we get. I'm curious to see what this pad weighs and the container as well. There's liquid in there. Where are we? 4.24 pounds. That's just about a pound and a quarter short of 5.50. That's insane. All right, let's see how much the packaging weighs. 0.730 of a pound. All right, let's see how much this pad weighs. The absorbent pad is coming in at 0.550. That's over a half a pound itself. So technically all this fluid in this pad was in the chicken when it was weighed at the factory, so we're going to give them this weight. 4 pounds, 7.8 ounces.
You guys want to know something wild about this? Is Walmart has been brought to court multiple times about their product weights being short. August 2025, Walmart paid out about $6 million in a California judgment over allegations of overcharging and false weight advertising. What a shocker. This is what we see all the time. And if we go down here, it happened again. A class action lawsuit. Walmart settled for $45 million in a class action lawsuit covering weighted goods, including poultry, meat, bagged citrus, for alleged overcharges tied to weight and pricing discrepancies, exactly what we see all the time. So this is a pattern. This is not something that just keeps happening. And I think they're doing it on purpose, because take a look at this. So if their fines are $6 million and $45 million, well, that seems like a lot, but it's actually not a lot. And I'll show you why. Because here is a post I did about bacon. So they're actually shorting the product weight on bacon as well. So how much does that actually come out to? And here's the math on that. Walmart sells about 8 to 12 million packs of bacon per month. They short about 3 pieces of bacon per pack. That was what was weighed in the video. This means that Walmart will make an estimated $8 million per month just on shorting bacon. So if they're making $8 million a month for, let's say, years, and this is one product, and they're doing it across meats, poultry, they're doing it across citrus, they're doing it across everything, well, that adds up very quickly per month. That's tens of millions, maybe even hundreds of millions of dollars a month that they're making just shorting products. And the fines are only $45 million or $6 million when it actually goes to a judgment. So if you're making, tens of millions or hundred millions of dollars a month in fraud, and then you get a fine for only $45 million, that's just called the cost of doing business. You're robbing people for a fine.
Does anyone else find it strange that the stage is being set for a massive power outage? Because multiple articles have been released talking about the possibility of an 18-month power outage. Now, why would they use the number 18 at that when talking about this power outage? That's a long time without power. And can you all imagine what would happen in those 18 months? I mean, Gary, Indiana is a preview of what would happen if we went that long without power. They are definitely telling you what is on the way, because why else would they be warning everybody with these articles of the possibility of an 18-month power outage if they weren't planning something? Again, everything feels off anymore, and it just feels like something massive is on the way. You can just feel it. You can. With everything going on, with everything happening, you can just feel like something major is definitely on the way.
This is the flip the camera section. So these are people that are getting berated and attacked in public. And we're actually going to flip the camera at the end and show who the person bothering everyone is.
Yeah. Quentin, you called me a she, her.
I don't know what.
And you said to get the fuck out because your systems...
I don't know what you said, man. Go on. So
oh, no, what'd you call me? Please, Quentin. Please feel free to tell me what you called me.
We can play this game all day.
Oh, what
I like Quentin. So Quentin, a Dollar General employee. Not exactly the tip of the spear for oppression, right?
The guy who's in charge of global hiring.
Borderline minimum wage worker at a discount store.
Let's flip the camera.
We actually have Quentin's POV, and here's what Quentin saw.
Hello here is giving me a hard time here at Dollar General.
All right.
Doesn't want to leave because their card is declined because
my
of
card did not
funds.
it did not say insufficient funds.
That's a little boy.
Little boy with a little mustache and a weird voice, right? So Quentin turned it around on she, her. Think about who's in the store recording this thing. And it's not exactly the picture of health. Definitely not the picture of mental health.
Mental health, no.
Passing of Hayden Panettiere is eerie to say the very least. You mean to tell me 3 months before this all happened, she just happened to write a tell-all book about her story going through Hollywood, etc.? So you mean to tell me in those same 3 months before all this happened, she just happened to go on a popular podcast and talk about her experience in Hollywood and a situation, we'll call it, that she ran into while on a yacht with a very famous celebrity, in her own words? People are even noticing that her passing away at the age of 36 is a little bit eerie and creepy in itself. Ironically enough, look at this photo behind me. Notice the number that's above the door, 36. I want you guys to keep in mind that Hayden Panettiere was a child star within Hollywood. That means that her opening up 3 months ago about this experience she had with a very famous celebrity allegedly on a yacht can't be the only story she had in her life about growing up in Hollywood. From the outside looking in, people are hypothesizing that maybe she had more to say along the way and was going to open up more about her experiences over the years. Of course, tragically at age 36, she would pass away, and now we have no way of knowing if more information, more stories were going to come out from her and her camp. Comment below, let me know your thoughts. Am I on to something or am I tripping this time? Wake up.
If you could guess the value of gold that Weezer is wearing right now, you're going to get a gold chain. Let's see if somebody could guess the value. Boss, you want to try? I know. How much gold this guy got on him right now? The gold album's coming out Friday, and you're going to get a gold chain if you get this right.
900,050.
900,000 was a good guess.
Thank you very much. I appreciate
That's
it.
for
for
you, brother.
1,150,000?
1 million 1, 1 million 2.
700?
1,750,000.
1,750,000. The one who's wearing the gold chain is from Norway. And the runner-up is 1-1. That's for you. That's for you. And the last but not least is 1.7 million over here. Hey, the gold album's coming out this Friday. All right, give me that back, man.
Hey, is this guy somebody? Yeah, that's James Woods. We got a celebrity here. I repeat, this is not a normal dead person. This is a celebrity.
Being a famous movie star entitled me to top-notch medical care, not available to the rest of society. My body was immediately taken to a Hollywood hospital, where I was hooked up to a 17-year-old ingenue. And in accordance with Hollywood law, her life force was infused into me, bringing me back from the dead.
What happened to the girl?
I threw her out a car window at Nora Ephron. That's amazing!
And now a startling ABC News investigation. A whistleblower has come forward to tell consumers about the ground beef a lot of us buy at the supermarket. Is it what we think it is, or is it padded with a filler the whistleblower calls pink slime? ABC's senior national correspondent Jim Avila set out to get answers.
Gerald Zernstein grinds his own hamburger these days. Why? Because this former USDA scientist, now whistleblower, knows that 70% of the ground beef we buy at the supermarket contains something he calls pink slime. Beef trimmings that were once used only in dog food and cooking oil, now sprayed with ammonia to make them safe to eat, and then added to most ground beef as a cheaper filler. It was Zernstein who in a USDA memo first coined the term pink slime, and is now coming forward to say he won't buy it.
It's economic fraud. It's not fresh ground beef. It's a substitute. It's a cheap substitute being added in.
Zernstein and his fellow USDA scientist Carl Custer both warned against using what the industry calls lean, finely textured beef, and is widely known now as pink slime. But their government bosses overruled them.
Why didn't you consider it beef?
Because it was a salvage product.
Leftovers?
Fat that had been heated at low temperature and the excess fat spun out.
Here's how it's done. Those waste trimmings are gathered, simmered at low heat to make it easier to separate fat from muscle, put in a centrifuge and spun to finish the separation. Next, the mixture is sent through pipes where it's sprayed with ammonia gas to kill bacteria, and finally compressed into bricks and flash frozen for shipment to meat packers and grocery stores where it's added to most ground beef. And it doesn't have to appear on the label, because over objections of its own scientists, USDA officials with links to the beef industry labeled pink slime meat.
The undersecretary said, it's pink, therefore it's meat.
ABC News has learned the woman who made the decision to okay the mix is former Undersecretary of Agriculture Joanne Smith, a call that led to hundreds of millions of dollars for Beef Products, Inc., the makers of pink slime. When Smith stepped down from USDA, BPI's principal supplier appointed her to the board of directors, where she made at least $1.2 million over 17 years. She did not return our calls for comment. BPI says it had nothing to do with her appointment, and the USDA says, while legal then, under current ethics rules, she could not have immediately joined that board. Jim Avila, ABC News, Washington.
Today marks the 34th anniversary of the Ruby Ridge standoff. The events at Ruby Ridge could happen to anyone. Leading up to the standoff, an ATF informant manipulated Randy Weaver, who had no intention of doing any harm to anyone, into making a short-barreled shotgun so that they could charge him and use him as an informant. The government then attempted to raid Weaver's cabin in northern Idaho, resulting in a standoff that killed his wife and son.
They see some men dressed in fatigues with dark paint and, very much like a strike team, and that possibly to silence this dog, which has found their location, one of the marshals shoots and kills the dog.
When the dog uncovered the marshal's location, an agent shot it, and a gunfight ensued that killed 14-year-old Sam Weaver and a deputy U.S. Marshal named William Deegan.
The very next day, a team of 10 FBI agents and the hostage rescue team surround the cabin.
Sarah's mother, Vicky, took a fatal shot to the head as she held the family's 10-month-old baby in her arms. But outside the cabin, no one was aware Vicky was dead. The Weavers held out for a total of 11 days. After Vicky was shot, they believed they'd be killed if they stepped outside. The standoff ended only after Bo Greitz, a right-wing presidential candidate sympathetic to the Weavers' cause, negotiated a surrender.
So they're up there about an hour, and he comes back, and he says, boy, you guys really screwed that one up. I said, what do you mean? He says, Randy's been shot, Harris has been shot, and Vicky's dead. So we just couldn't believe it.
Later investigations revealed that law enforcement had made a series of errors. Authorities on the ground communicated poorly with agents arriving from afar.
How did the government end up treating them like a group of armed terrorists?
Mr. Weaver lost his son and wife because the ATF wanted to entrap him. Each year, we at GOA remember this day, August 21st, as an example of what can happen when gun control is weaponized against American citizens. 3 years ago on this date, we spoke about fighting the NFA and how that law was used to justify the standoff by the government. 3 years later, we're looking at a completely different legal landscape for the NFA, with the registration requirements on short-barreled firearms being declared unconstitutional thanks to the hard work of GOA members. This is why each year we remember what happened on August 21st, 1992 at Ruby Ridge, Idaho. GOA will continue to fight back against rogue agencies and the bureaucrats that want to take away your Second Amendment rights.
You forget New Jersey this time last year. There were drones mysteriously showing up, and they were saying, oh, some people say it's from a ship from Iran. Do you remember that? You don't remember that? Might want to go back and kind of comical. So the Iran ships are off our coast, but our incredible military is just kind of letting them hang out there. Or it's a mothership. They said it's a mothership. There was a million things said by our government, which is a full-blown lie. Because you're going to tell me that our government, that are here to serve the people, have no clue what drones, what they are, where they're coming from. And I think Trump was president, and they never defined what these drones were. And they still won't completely say. And then they say, oh, you know, it was a million different things. And this is what people don't understand. They lie to you about everything. About everything.
Does anyone find this strange? This is supposed to be Luka Doncic. But who is this right here? Because some people are wondering if this is even the same person at all. Because when you look at the side-by-side photos of Luka, I mean, does this look like the same person to you? Maybe it is. Maybe he just got into peak condition. Maybe that's all that there is to this. But something just really looks off about this new version of Luka. Again, maybe I'm looking too much into this. Maybe other people are looking too much into this. But you have to admit, there are a lot of bizarre things going on. And again, does this look strange to you? Or am I the only one that finds this to be a little bit strange? But this is probably the same Luka. He is a great basketball player, and he's probably going to have a great season now that he's gotten himself into peak condition, right? But what if it's a different person entirely? What do you think?
A class action lawsuit says that whenever you call into Walmart, their AI assistant takes a clone of your voice. Here's the claim, and it's fair to point out that this is just an allegation. Walmart has not yet been found liable for this. Illinois shoppers say that when they call into their local store, the automated AI voice system pulled out the unique characteristics of their voice and built a mathematical template of it. Walmart's policy does bury a mention of collecting voice prints, but the lawsuit argues buried is not the same as consent. But the crazy part? This isn't the only one. Other Illinois lawsuits accuse Walmart of scanning fingerprints and faces. There's even a 2018 Walmart patent for a system that listens at checkout to score how its cashiers are doing. A voice print is different from almost everything else a company can take. If they leak your password, you change it. If they leak your card number, you order a new one. If they leak your voice, you're stuck with it. If you want to stay updated on lawsuits like this, then check out the project I'm building called Paranoia. It scores every company you use based off of how much of your privacy and data they give away, the fine print you agree to but never read, and it's all backed up with the receipts to prove it in just one place. You can check it out through the link in my bio, but as always, think about it, let me know what you think, and follow me.
John Wayne Gacy might be the closest thing to a real-life Pennywise the Dancing Clown we've ever seen. Because between 1972 and 1982, Bro unalived 33 people, with most of them being lured back to his house. And the craziest part is, while Bro was doing these unalivings, he was dressed as a clown. His character was named Pogo the Clown. He would perform at parties, community events, all to get close enough to people, so they never suspected it. And that's basically Pennywise in a nutshell. Pennywise is a monster hiding behind something that's supposed to be fun. John Wayne Gacy did quite literally the same exact thing, except in real life. He was a normal guy, business owner, community member, and someone who entertained people dressed as a clown. But behind all of that, he was unaliving people and stuffing their bodies underneath his house. Because when the police finally searched his property, tell me why they found 29 bodies on or underneath his house. And most of them were hidden inside of the crawl space. Now, of course, John Wayne Gacy didn't actually inspire Pennywise the Dancing Clown. Stephen King made that very clear, and has never confirmed that Pennywise was inspired by John Wayne Gacy. But when you look at how similar these two characters are, a killer hiding behind a clown costume, luring people back to his house, while still targeting young victims, I'm not gonna lie, that literally sounds like Pennywise the Dancing Clown in real life. Don't forget to like and follow for more, and comment down below what other true crime events I should talk about.
This is the most demonic thing I done seen, and they claim to be following Christ and doing stuff with Christ. Y'all look at this video, bro. This is demonic. You need to take that cross off your neck. Take it off. What are y'all? This is demonic witchcraft. This is truly demonic. You guys need to turn away from whatever this is, and y'all need to snatch them doggone crosses off your neck, because that is disrespecting Christ. This is straight witchcraft and idolatry. You would not catch Jesus doing anything like this. And last time I thought he rose from the dead. He wouldn't do something like this with skulls and no, he would turn them skulls and bring it to life.
Guys, the US government just did something that you're not supposed to be able to do. They just put a date on a volcano eruption, and it could be happening tomorrow. The government's volcano observatory has sensors watching the summit inflate like a balloon as magma fills up underneath, and once it hits a certain point, it basically just pops. They're saying that the next eruption that could be happening from this volcano could happen anywhere as near as today all the way to next Thursday. And they're saying that it isn't just a lucky guess, because it's the 53rd time it's erupted like this since December of 2024, and they keep calling these windows right almost every single time. You're obviously not supposed to be able to predict a volcano, but they've basically turned this one into a recurring schedule. They say that the last episode went off on August the 12th and sent lava about 500 feet into the air for almost 10 hours straight, with a plume going up 18,000 feet. Each one is a direct wall of lava fountaining out of the crater, and you can see it glow from miles away. It's all happening inside of Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, so people literally drive up and camp out to watch it in person. The alert level is only an advisory, and it's not threatening any towns at all, so this is basically just a front row seat to a free movie.
Are you fucking serious right now?
We're in a bad spot too.
A North Dakota mother is currently behind bars after she allegedly cut the throats of all 3 of her children on Thursday evening. 2 of them have passed away, but somehow one of them is still holding on. This is Kaylee Earhart. She's 22 years old from Mandan, North Dakota. Police responded to a home on South Frontier Trail at 5:42 p.m. after receiving a call about 3 children who had been seriously injured during an assault. When they got there, they said they could hear commotion going on inside, so they forced their way in, and she had apparently cut all of their throats. In a news conference today, the chief of police said that Kaylee had locked herself inside the house and threatened to unalive them. Of course, all 3 of the children were immediately rushed to a hospital, and like I said, 2 of them passed away. Morgan, who turned 3 in March, and Ava, who was born in February. Colton, who will be 2 years old in October, survived. My heart goes out to her family, especially her husband. Apparently, he was there at the house.
And when her court case comes, I guarantee you people are going to be like, we are her, because she had postpartum, right? That's what you guys are, you're going to defend her for she cut her children's throats. 2 died, 1 survived. This is the same shit with Lindsay Clancy. 100%. She killed her fucking kids. Like, I'm so sick of, stop defending shit human beings. How about that? How about that? We just stop defending. This is 3 children. This is 6 children that have been harmed by their mothers. And if you didn't know, which I've already stated in another fucking video, women have a higher propensity for harming their children than men do. Fucking insane.
33 Pennsylvanians who have tested positive for
COVID-19. Today we have 33 cases.
There were 33 new cases.
The state of Minnesota today reported 33 new COVID-19 related deaths.
There are 33 confirmed cases in Arkansas.
That's the largest single-day increase so far, raising the total to 33.
33.
There were 33 confirmed cases in North Carolina.
33.
There was 33 everywhere.
Yes.
I think that was Red Team Go. I think 33 is like Red Team Go. Everybody goes, okay, let's do it. It's time.
Yeah, 100%.
Dude, there's like literally 1,000 33s and 33 new cases. 33 people died in Hong Kong.
The number 33, we all know what that represents. Everywhere, every single day, it was like, well, 12 more cases, which now brings the state to 33.
Yes.
We had 33 cases today.
Yes.
We had 11 cases, which now it's 33. 33 more people. I'm going, oh my God, how dumb you have to see to not understand this is going on. Yeah, that was green light go. We're off to the races.
Yeah. You've been subject to propaganda and lies by people who are very well trained in how they do that. If you find one thing your government has said which is clearly not true, I ask you this: why would you believe anything else they've told you?
And people still ask me, have we gone to the moon? Exhibit A.
What was the scariest moment of the journey?
Scariest? It didn't happen. It could have been scary.
It could have been scary if it happened. Exhibit B.
Let's look at the photo. You say that's me? Okay. Check out the name badge. It says Aldrin. Looks like you're right. But notice the helmet. Can you see my face? No. This is a secret I've been keeping for almost half a century. On July 20th, 1969, Neil Armstrong and I pulled off humanity's first extraterrestrial ride.
Yes, of course, we all know that he's just joking. Exhibit C.
Why has nobody been to the moon in such a long time?
That's not an 8-year-old's question. That's my question. I want to know, but I think I know. Because we didn't go there, and that's the way it happened.
Of course, then he got himself to start talking rationally. So did we go to the moon? And it's also not only the moon, he had secret knowledge of a cryptic Antarctica. This tweet was real. We are all in danger, it's evil itself. Posted from news articles. It sucks to be so blurry, but it was a real tweet. I did enhance it, and this is around the whole topic that there's a secret pyramid under the ice in Antarctica. But why is an astronaut going to Antarctica? Turns out that Nasha, believe it or not, is one of the few places to be doing research in Antarctica. Oh, and guess what else? The North Pole Project by Nasha. So for some reason, these astronauts are also connected with the 2 places on the Earth that almost nobody ever gets to go to. Then he starts making cryptic tweets about pyramids, about how the world's in danger, it's evil itself. Believe it or not, those 3 places are all connected. And here, very shortly, all of humanity is going to know what's going on with these 3 locations. There's something hiding on the Earth right now. Something that'll show that all history is a lie. It's not what you think, and it's also not.
But thinking to myself, man, what did he do to make them niggas that mad?
People who choose to be alone, those people are not alone because no one wants to be their friend and no one likes them, and no, they're alone because they've chosen peace. Because everything that they ever trusted, everything they ever poured into, everyone they've ever tried to love has disappointed, has hurt them, has misunderstood them, has minimized them, has used them, okay? So when you have gotten to a point in your life where you're tired of being mistreated, where you're tired of tolerating behaviors that you don't need to tolerate anymore, when you have gotten to a point in your life where you're tired of neglecting yourself, you're tired of being there for everyone when you are broken. You're broken and you're holding everyone's hand. You're broken and you're smiling for everyone. You're broken and you're healing people.
You need to watch this Usher clip, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Watch the word he trips on at this award show. So a little bit backstory. He's up there getting the biggest award of the night, and after this whole speech, he said it was just nerves and that the teleprompter went too fast. Watch.
Able to receive this amazing award from the depths of my soul,
Honestly, I'd have believed him until I saw what happened 7 weeks later. He was at the Met, and it's not even the outfit that got me. It's his eyes. Just watch.
Yeah. How did you interpret the theme tonight?
It's just as that. Wanted to be exotic. There's all different types of guardians. Some of them get a little dark, but you gotta have fun, right?
Barely blink, and his eyes, just look at them. Maybe he tripped on a word, wore a creepy outfit, wore contact lenses. Tell me I'm the only one who saw it. Tell me you didn't feel something. Let me know if you saw it too.
Oh, this is definitely a manufactured... Look, this is all the intelligent design. Because, you know, there's a certain amount of bacteria that exists in the ocean.
Right.
That feeds plankton.
Right.
That feeds filter feeding whales. Well, that's not by coincidence, bro.
Right.
You know, why do we share 60% of the same DNA genetic code with bananas?
Right.
You feel me? Well, why is it that they try to say that the theory of Darwinism and evolution is not real? But if you take a pig from the farm,
right,
put it outside in the wilderness, it's going to transform.
It is.
Into a motherfucking wild boar. It's gonna be it go from pink to brown. It grows tusk. It becomes a gnarly, mean motherfucker now.
It just changes.
It changes on its own.
Hearing that name, Rothschild, might make some people think, oh, evil, rich, Illuminati, corrupt, New World Order, Freemason. But do you even know who they are and how they made their money? They started off as a relatively normal family, just trying to make ends meet and grow a business almost 300 years ago. With Amschel Moses Bauer opening a accounting house in Frankfurt, Germany in 1743, the early version of an accounting firm. Above the door outside his office was a sign with an eagle and a red shield on it. And the office came to be locally known as the Red Shield Firm, translated to German, Rote Shield, which eventually got shortened to Rothschild. Origin story right here. Amschel passed his business down to his son Meyer, who changed his last name from Bauer to Rothschild after the store. And this is where it all begins. Meyer was pretty business savvy and just hungry to make it big, so he wanted to scale hard. His dad's business mainly dealt with bookkeeping, dealing coins, and lending money to average Joes. Until one time he scored a lending job with the government and got paid a fat bag for it. So he doubled down on that, focusing focusing all of his efforts on lending money to governments and kings, which was way more profitable than lending to citizens. The loan amounts were astronomically bigger than average folk for obvious reasons, but the real cherry on top was that these loans were secured by the people, the taxpayers of the country. So when a regular Joe takes out a loan and can't pay it in time, they default on it, and the loaner is left chasing after Joe until they can pay it back. Government loans are backed by taxpayer money. A government will always have a virtually endless supply of money rolling in from collected taxes that they can use to pay off their loans. So they can just raise taxes in their country to get more money if they're ever a little short on paying off a loan. In this sense, governments can never lose, and neither do people who loan them money. You always hear of governments in debt trillions of dollars and might be asking yourself, in debt to who? That would be to central banks, who arguably modeled this structure of non-stop government loaning from the original Rothschild firm. A bit of an infinite money glitch that won't end well for us. Meyer saw big bucks flowing in from this business model, so he taught his 5 sons his methods and sent them on an expedition across Europe to Germany, England, France, Austria, and Italy to set up similar counting houses in each. Rinse and repeat. They quickly rose to power and became the richest bankers in each country, having more money than all other banks in those countries combined. Clearly, this strategy was working beautifully. At the time, one business owning banks in multiple different countries was unheard of, and they definitely made the most of it. Doing shit like funding both sides of the war and Napoleon's conquest, which is no secret, meaning they probably did the same for the world wars and even conflicts happening today. They helped Brazil pay for its liberation from Portugal, saved the Bank of England from collapse by bailing them out. Just imagine being so rich that the most powerful country in the world at the time comes asking you for money. Pretty much funded the industrialization of America, which was a barren land of cowboys, log cabins, and natives at the time, and also helped Britain buy the Suez Canal, which connects the Mediterranean to the Indian Ocean. When Britain issued the Balfour Declaration in 1917, announcing its support for the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people, Israel, it was addressed to Lionel Walter Rothschild, who also helped fund this move. So what's their secret? How do they keep this generational wealth growing so steadily over the centuries? Well, when Meyer, the OG businessman behind the government loans, passed away, he outlined a very specific system in his will, in which the wealth can only get passed down the male line of lineage, meaning females who married outside the family were completely left out of the money. I think you know where this is going. Because of this rule in his will, all future descendants had a tendency to marry within the family, mostly their second or even first cousins and the occasional niece. And that's exactly how they kept it within the family to this day. It's speculated that a Rothschild may actually be the real richest person in the world, counting in the trillions, using intentional tricks of the trade like asset hiding, trust funds, and shell companies to hide their true wealth. So while everyone's focused on Musk versus Bezos battling it out head to head for the richest person title, the real top dog is quietly sitting in the shadows, tapping their fingers together, thinking of their next move.
Following video, a man named May Rosette moves into a new apartment, unaware that his first night staying there would be a terrifying experience. In July of 2023, Rosette makes a video after multiple nights of seeing and hearing things in his new place. It's become so frequent that he felt the need to document what was happening. Maybe, as he believes, people would offer advice on how to stop the strange activity if they saw it. So he begins to record.
Okay, so this is my apartment. Guys, so I moved here in around July, and at least I think around, it was like last week I moved in, and half of his face, but it looked like white ghostly, I don't know what it is, but very weird. It was very weird. But then all of a sudden, it's just crazy. Oh snap, what the heck? What the heck? Hello? What the heck? Y'all see that? Man, that thing drove by itself and there's no wind drag or nothing. Look at the fan, look at that fan, the fan working. What the heck? Y'all saw that, right? This is what I'm talking about. It's doing it by itself. Nobody in there. The frick is wrong with this? And to me, sometimes, I ain't gonna lie, but the air ain't on. And it usually come on. But goodness gracious, that was just weird. But this is what I'm talking about. And then 2 days ago, I decided, because I didn't get no videos from last week.
While talking about previous experiences, his door abruptly opens, and this happens while talking about a figure that he saw in the corner of his room. Whether a coincidence or not, he was still spooked, as there was no way that his door could have opened unless there was a draft caused by a ceiling fan, but as he shows us, it's off. While it could be the case that he actually caught something paranormal, it's still not strong enough to support his claims that his place is extremely haunted as he says it is. But one night, he captures this. After setting up a camera pointing at his hallway, Rosette records something overnight that completely shakes him up. Suffice to say, staying here was no longer an option for him. Take a look. Now it's hard to see at first, but if you look closely, you can see something moving in the dark. It appears on the right side of the apartment, almost as a white speck. It's there, but then moments later, it's not. Here's a side-by-side comparison to see the difference. Looking at both images, it seems that someone, or something, had been inside Rosette's place. To him, this was the shadow figure that kept showing up at night, especially near his room. And now, he's caught it on camera. But unfortunately, not many people have seen this video, which perhaps is the reason why he hasn't continued to post or share any updates on the situation. It's been 2 years now, and these 2 videos are the only
Listen up. Y'all understand this, it is not about the robots. And I'm not saying they're not going to be used. Their plan is to turn us into robots. This guy right here is called Ray Carswell, and he had a prediction for 2029. Just listen.
We will connect wirelessly our neocortex to the cloud.
This is with nanobots that enter your neocortex.
Right.
This is your prediction. For when is that? Yes. So the mid-2030s. We will have nanobots that we can feed into our brain that directly connect to the cloud rather than through anything we carry in our pocket. And in that way, wirelessly, we can basically download entire books, entire languages, and we will then know these things just by the act of downloading them.
Well, that's one.
You see, what he's predicting is singularity, when humans and AI intelligence merge together. And they plan to do this with nanobots. We've already seen it in those things, but it's going to be in our food, our water, our air. And that is why there's such a huge rush to build data centers. Can y'all imagine the infrastructure needed to provide that much processing power and storage, which is going to be needed for human-machine connection. See, transhumanism is all about universal consciousness. That's why there's so many deceptive movements like the New Age happening right now. They are and have been seeking to demolish individuality and free will. And they are doing this with the help of the Genesis mission. The first Neuralink was implanted on January the 28th of 2024. Trump announced the Genesis mission on November the 24th of 2025, which was exactly 666 days. Let's talk about some predictive programming. This is what Neuralink looks like. I used to watch this show called The 100. And in this show, there was a device called the Flame. It was a device to give the new commanders so that they would get the consciousness of the old commanders that were in power. And it's got the same symbol as the Neuralink. This has been the plan the whole time. They want to have complete control and take away individuality. You can see them do that with our society these days. It seems like every woman wants to look the same, fake. Every man wants to look the same. No one wants to think for themselves or have any individuality at all. They want to connect everyone into a hive mind. They've been planning this for a long time, and it's coming. This will be part of the tribulation, which is coming very soon. If you do not have a relationship with Jesus Christ, you need to get one today. The Bible says that if you confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that he died, was buried, and rose again for the remission of your sins, you will be saved. Don't wait until it's too late.
So many people claim, oh, I'm lactose intolerant. No, you just haven't been exposed to milk, and the number of enzymes has gone down. When you don't use something, just like muscles, they go away. The lactase enzyme that sits right at the top of the villi of the intestine degrades and goes away if you're not using dairy products. But you can recruit that, you can ramp that up. So extremely few people are lactose intolerant, lactose genetically lactase deficient. But if you go and drink a bottle of milk and you haven't had dairy for a long time, you're not suddenly going to break it down. You've got to re-recruit that. And I would urge everybody out there, because of the importance of galactose, to re-recruit that lactase enzyme by taking in a small amount of dairy that may be a bit miserable in terms of intestinal function to begin with, but is going to have It's going to have a settling effect and be enormously valuable for the rest of your life, especially if you intend to live a long life.
Dearborn, the most Islamic city in America.
Do you remember the videos of the prayers? Death to America, death to the Christians and the Jews.
Destroy them, Allah, take them off the surface of this earth.
Some of those videos took place right in here. This is the prayer hall of the Islamic Center of America. The Quran is not what America was built on. It's not what America stands on. America was built on. It stands on the Bible, the Word of God. This book right here demands violence for those who disagree. This is not freedom. This is not freedom. We live in America, a Christian nation built on biblical values. Yeah, we're called to love the Muslims, but also we're called to keep this out of our nation. Islam is not here to peacefully assimilate with Christianity in the West. They're here to annihilate. They're here to infiltrate Christians. It is time for us to take a stand. If we don't do it now, when will we?
I just have one thing to say. Our nation was built on biblical principles. It can only be sustained by the Christian faith. And that's not a message of hate, it's a message of love. It's not a message of fear, it's a message of truth. Our freedom comes from God, it's protected by our government, and it's built on the Bible. Jesus is still king. Jesus is still king over America, and Jesus is still king over Dearborn, Michigan. But Christians, this is not the Middle East, this is happening in our country right now. What are we going to do about it?
Whatever you're gonna have, the Jews will always control you. Everywhere you go in the world, who is running all the financial? Always the Jews. Started in Paro, Yosef, everyone. The Jews are in charge of the world. Science, financial, politics, behind the presidents. Even now, everybody knows that all the campaign of Donald Trump is his son-in-law, the Jew, Kushner. I read it 3 different articles. He is the mastermind behind everything.
You know it's day 10, no power in Gary, Indiana. But whatever they do, they tell you before they do it. They've been giving us warnings. Look at this. Here's another one. This is all over the internet.
America is a satanic nation and it's founded on the principles of Satan itself. They say that 200 million people in America are Christian out of 300 million people, making about 60 to 66% are supposedly Christian. If you even just take a walk, you'll see it's a blatant lie. If we were a majority Christian nation, we would not have homeless on the streets who are dying of starvation. Because we know we're supposed to love our neighbors as ourselves. If we were a Christian nation, we would take care of those people who are in need. If we were a Christian nation, we wouldn't have a nation full of divorce, fatherless children, motherless children. The adults would stay together because they wouldn't be cheating on each other all the time. If we were a Christian nation, the entire world would not be about profits. We see profits in every single market, water, food, the sickness rampant upon the earth, everyone's sick, illnesses everywhere, and it's all about profit. If we were a Christian nation, we would not have ball worship outside of every single ghetto in every part of the United States. People don't want to hear it, but it's the truth. I mean, what's the one most known statue in the United States? The Statue of Liberty, which is Lucifer, which is Apollo, which is Apollyon, which is Abaddon. If we were a majority Christian nation, people would not spend $100 a day weekly to see depravity on stages around children. I would even go to say that if we were a Christian nation, we would remove all depravity from this nation. Even further, if we were a Christian nation, it'd be impossible for the left to hate the right and the right to hate the left because hatred is against the Lord. If America was truly a Christian nation, there would be no place at all for hate in this country. 1 John 4:20 says that if we say that we love God and hate our brother, we do lie. We are a liar. How can we love him who we have not seen if we hate those who we have seen? We say we're a Christian nation, but majority of Christians are too busy on their phone to read their Bible. But see, if we were a Christian nation, there'd be no sick among us because we'd be a nation of praying people. James 5. Get the elders to lay hands on them with anointed oil and pray over them that they could be healed. If we were a nation of praying people, the entire country would change. The devil would not have any foothold in music, in TV, in entertainment. He would not exist in this nation. The Bible says, resist the devil and he will flee. The devil is here because the Christians have given him access. So if people really want to know why God allows bad things to happen, the Bible shows the same thing over and over again. He turns his face against the wicked. But you want to know what else the Bible says? If my people that are called by name will humble themselves, seek my face, and turn against their wicked ways, then I will hear their prayers. We are not a Christian nation. We are a satanic nation. But all that could change.
The more you look into Catholic churches, the more some of this shit starts looking questionable. For centuries, they use symbols that people say look like ancient ones. Even the Pope's hat has been compared to the head of an ancient fish god. Then you got carvings on the wall showing what appears to be Anunnaki figures holding a pine cone. And what's crazy is there's a giant pine cone statue at the Vatican. Even some of the crosses and staffs used by the Pope look similar seen in ancient carvings. And that upside down cross, you can actually find that in Catholic churches too. Now this is for entertainment purposes. They're just theories and comparisons. And then the video ends with a priest putting a human skull inside of a statue. So the question is, what exactly are we looking at? Let me know in the comments.
Margaret Krieger was accused, executed, and survived the state of Vermont's only recorded witchcraft trial. Born in 1724, Margaret was 61 when her husband died and her neighbors began to accuse her of being an extraordinary woman. Eventually, she was brought before Pownall's Town Safety Committee on accusations of witchcraft. After hearing testimony from several of her neighbors, they determined to give her a trial by ordeal. She was given two options. Either she could climb up a tree and the villagers would cut that tree down while she was still in it, or she could be thrown into the nearby Hoosick River. If she was able to survive either of these ordeals, she would be proven a witch and executed. She chose to be thrown into the river in the dead of winter. Next thing you know, the committee had cut a hole in the ice that covered the river and pushed the widow Krieger in. To everyone's shock and amazement, she immediately sank to the bottom. This was enough evidence for the committee to determine that she was innocent, so they quickly pulled her up from the bottom before she could drown or freeze to death. So hypothetically, what would you do if you were accused of being a witch by all your neighbors and you almost died? Because you know it's going to be real awkward at the next neighborhood family picnic. Next time we're going to go back to our regular scheduled programming with the Northfield Pigman.
This might actually be one of the biggest wastes of money ever. Saudi Arabia's infamous city in the desert has now been called off because it turns out the real price tag was way higher than they expected. You see, the project was originally estimated to cost a measly $500 billion, but according to a new Wall Street Journal investigation, the actual capital needed to create this was $8.8 trillion. That is 6 times more than Saudi Arabia's entire GDP. And there is no way almost any country could ever afford that. But the craziest part is that Saudi Arabia has already spent $50 billion laying the foundations for this project, which is now simply wasted. They dug trenches 70 miles long, installed massive concrete pillars, and they even started construction on some of the buildings until they were suddenly told to stop work. And we don't have the official reason as to why. Saudi Arabia themselves simply describe what's happening as a reprioritization, because instead of pouring trillions into a futuristic megacity, the country is reportedly shifting more than $100 billion into, you guessed it, AI. But here's the part that absolutely baffles me. When they announced this project, almost every expert in the world said that this would not work. So why did $50 billion have to be spent for them to come to the same conclusion? Well, the Wall Street Journal described it as a dance of mutual delusion.
It was a project where truth simply couldn't be told. MBS had fantastical views of what Neom should be, but the people around him wouldn't tell him it was impossible.
This is the story of the Van Meter visitor. Late night, September 1903 in Van Meter, Iowa. There's a farmer. His name is Eugene. He's walking home. All of a sudden, he sees this bright, unnatural light coming from the top of a 2-story building. And he stops and he looks up and the light shifts towards him. He hears a weird flapping noise. This thing jumps up and flies straight north. This thing was a humanoid bat creature.
Ooh.
Staring right at him with 4 legs, a beak beak like a bird, standing at over 9 feet tall. There's a guy named Peter Dunn. He sleeps in the bank with a shotgun, and he has woke up to a gurgling noise. And standing out there is this creature. It shines its light, blinds him. He shoots, the creature goes away. And the next morning, they walk outside the bank, and they see 2 huge footprints with 3 toes. They went out and they took plaster casts of footprints they found outside, and they still have them in a museum. There's this one guy who had heard gurgling in the cave the night prior, so he got the director, J. Ale Plight Jr. He gathered about 5 to 6 men. He stood out at the front of the cave, and they waited until 1 o'clock in the morning. It always came out early in the morning, and out came this creature gurgling at them. They shot, and it was unaffected. The next morning, they went to the cave where they assumed that this thing lived.
Right.
And they blew up the entrance, and they closed it off, and it has been closed off ever since. It's
Some
scary.
Watchers kind of creation.
Yo, dog, I just thought of something fucking weird. Why every time I go into Dollar General, Family Dollar, Dollar Tree, I always have a 1-bar signal on my phone? And I do DoorDash, right? I do DoorDash on the side. It's actually good money. Shout out to DoorDash. I have to go into these stores all the time to pick up orders. Every time, I have a 1-bar signal. Every time. And half the time, they don't even have Wi-Fi, so I can't even complete my DoorDash order. But anyways, what kind of infrastructure or metal fucking whatever is in the... What magnetism is going on with these buildings that I'm getting a 1-bar?
I've come to the conclusion that millions and millions of Christians are going to go to hell. Millions of them are going to go to hell because what the Bible says, and also those death experiences where atheists, Christians, all kinds of people, they die, they go to hell, they see who's down there, and it's packed full of Christians. And by Christians, I mean people who said the prayer, oh, Jesus Christ, you're the Savior, you're the Son of God, you rose from the dead. They say that, but they didn't allow Christ to change their lives. Sanctification was optional. Okay? And they lived any kind of way they want. They said the prayer once when they were 17, and they lived like a heathen their entire lives, and they died in their sins. And they think that, you can plan out the sin. You say, hey, on Saturday night, I'm going to Deep Element, I'm going to find me a girl, and I'm going to smash her. And then you say, oops, my bad, sorry, God, on Sunday morning, and you do the same thing over and over and over. You keep lying, keep stealing, keep gossiping. And some of the near-death experiences I've seen, like one guy, he described hell in the worst way I've ever heard about it. Like, fire is the least of your concerns. Burning is the least of your problems in hell. It's way worse than that. And he was saying the top 2 reasons as to why people, Christians, Hindus, atheists, everybody, the top 2 reasons as to why people go to hell: number 1, for gossip; number 2, for unforgiveness. Gossip, defamation of character, slandering people, just trash talking people. It's okay to talk about people and talk about situations, but saying, oh, she has a horse face, oh, this dude is whack, whatever, that kind of stuff is not right. This is Matthew 19. Teacher, what good thing must I do to get eternal life? And then Jesus says, why do you ask me about what is good? Jesus replied, there's only one who is good. If you want to enter life, keep the commandments. And then he lists all the stuff. Don't unalive. Don't commit adultery. Don't steal stuff. Don't be lying. Don't give false testimony, bro. Honor your father and mother. Love your neighbor as yourself. And the guy was like, oh, I did all that. And then he said, okay, well, go sell all your stuff and then come follow me. As in, get rid of your idols. You have a false god, which is the love of money. Get rid of that. Come follow me. And he left away sad. Oh, and then Jesus says, how hard it is for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. Jesus is saying, obey the commands. Believe in Jesus and obey and be righteous. That's how you make it into the kingdom of God. And then the Christians are going to get my comments and say, oh, well, the Bible does say nothing can separate us from the love of God, which is true. But if you read that passage in context, you will see something is missing that they're accounting for, that the Christians are accounting for, that Paul didn't say. All right, so this is Romans chapter 8. So he asks, who can separate us from the love of God? He says, for I am convinced that neither death nor life, neither angels nor demons, neither the present nor the future, nor any powers, neither height nor depth or anything else in all creation will be able to separate us from the love of God that is in Christ Jesus our Lord. And earlier he talks about nakedness and famine and threat of sword and all that stuff. But look, if you notice, Paul says nothing about lack of belief and disobedience. He says nothing about that, which is internal. Paul is listing out external factors here. Nothing external in all creation will ever be able to separate you from the love of God. But guess what can separate you from the love of God? No belief. Not believing upon Christ for salvation, and disobedience. And some people are like, oh, well, I said the prayer, I'm good. If you go back and look at the Old Testament, you will see that anytime the Hebrews stopped believing, they stopped obeying, God pulled his grace back. He pulled away his, favor and all that. He let people get captive. He let people get wiped out. Snakes coming into camp and biting people. He just let stuff happen because people were disobedient. Belief and obedience are tied together. I don't understand why some Christians are so motivated to be able to sin and just sin for fun. Look, if you know God, you will love God. And if you love God, you're not going to want to sin against your Creator. This is 1 John. This directly addresses the people that say you can just get saved and not obey. And you can sin as long as you say sorry, you're good. You don't have to actually repent for real, which is turning away from the sin and moving on and turning towards Christ and letting go of the old way. Okay, listen, this is 1 John. We know that we have come to know him if we keep his commands. Whoever says, I know him, but does not do what he commands is a liar. And the truth is not in that person. But if anyone obeys his word, love for God is truly made complete in them. This is how we know we are in him. Whoever claims to live by him must live as Jesus did. Living as Jesus did. Living righteously. Obeying his commands. Obeying what the law says. Like obeying Christ. Love your enemies. Pray for those that persecute you. If anyone wants to be my disciple, they must deny themselves daily. Pick up their cross and follow him. He's telling us all the stuff. Yes, it's hard. No, you can't do it on your own. You need the Holy Spirit. You need God to help you. But stop listening to these so-called Christians that tell you, past, present, future sins. It doesn't matter what you do. Nothing can separate you from the love of... Bro, you're going to land in hell. You're going to end up in Sheol where there's weeping and gnashing of teeth and outer darkness. If you don't stop playing games... Oh, this video, this is fear-mongering. You should be afraid. You're not afraid of the self-existent Creator. Fear the one that after you die can throw your soul into hell. You're not afraid of that person. The Bible says the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. Fear, respect, reverence. You don't have respect for Christ? Like, I saw this near-death experience of this guy. He was a Christian, and he just lived whatever, any kind of way. And he was standing before God, and Jesus was like, why didn't you forgive that lady? Wait, I did forgive her. And then he pulled out his heart, or showed his heart, and showed all the seeds of unforgiveness. And the dude was begging, like pleading, Jesus, please don't send me to hell. Please, please. And Jesus told him, he said, you don't get a well done. You get barely made it. Go. That dude made it into heaven by the skin of his teeth. And he was a Christian. He was a Christian. He believed in Jesus. So, if it's time to get serious.
Yup, they actually found it. Archaeologists in Turkey have announced they might have discovered the sarcophagus of Santa Claus near the Church of St. Nicholas in Demre, Turkey, which is believed to be his original burial place. Now, Santa Claus was real, sort of. Originally a Greek bishop by the name of St. Nicholas, who was known for many miracles and of course his generosity through his love of giving gifts, which is where we get Santa from. He lived in the ancient city of Myra, now Turkey, where in the centuries following his passing in 343 AD, the Church of St. Nicholas was built over the area where he served and was originally buried. But in the 11th century, his remains were thought to have been moved to the Basilica di San Nicola in Italy and were moved around to different sacred sites throughout Italy during the Crusades and all that. So for hundreds of years, we just kind of thought that was it. Santa Claus's bones were all over the place. But now they believe to have found his actual tomb fully intact. A limestone sarcophagus about 2 meters in length with a raised triangular lid that actually matches historical records of what his coffin was supposed to look like. So far, only the lid has been uncovered, and they're continuing to excavate the entire burial chamber with the hopes of finding some sort of inscription in the sarcophagus that can tell us Santa Claus confirmed in the
Guys, this video we're about to get into is disturbing, and it probably explains why a certain set of twins in Hollywood are the way they are. Just watch this.
First of all, would you like to ride the magic chair? Good, good. Well, girls, do you have a boyfriend?
Yes.
Jesse's your boyfriend? Oh, do you both like Jesse? Uh-oh.
Listen, I can't be the only one that sees what's really going on here. This isn't normal, it's not acceptable in my opinion. Bonus points if you notice the flooring in the studio. But anyway, the questions he was asking strange. The actions that he did, even stranger. These people know no boundaries, they're literally here to just push them. And where are the parents? Not sure how many times I have to show stuff like this before people start waking up.
They were doing a paranormal investigation. Something cursed. A paranormal group from Mexico named TRC Explains while filming a horror intro for their upcoming video in their grandma's house.
Bueno.
They're suddenly interrupted by their house phone ringing. It being so late at night and feeling a heavy presence, they hesitantly pick up the phone when they hear this.
Bueno.
They hear what sounds like a person breathing on the other side, whimpering, as the group is left speechless, frozen in fear.
Bueno.
Cállate, güey.
Se me hace que era Luisito.
¿Por qué?
Con los pesos llantos.
Luis.
Ya colgó.
But if that wasn't creepy enough, shortly after, the door opens on its own. After verifying the whole house, they confirm it couldn't have been any family member pulling a prank and have no idea who or what that was on the phone. Given the door open shortly after ending the call and their grandma's house where they grew up in, having tons of paranormal experiences, they believe whoever called that night is responsible for opening the door. But, as always, let me know what you believe.
You're phobic, you're racist, you're anti. These are doorway terms into the ad hominem fallacy argument, and these terms are used by barnacles who don't know how to discuss.
Clearly I'm talking about when these terms are used as weapons, not the contrary. Calm your butt.
Ad hominem fallacy is when someone attacks the character, motive, or trait of the speaker, instead of sticking to the argument or the statistics at hand. Actually, all three words are used to inspire a sense of chronic shame. Oh, you haven't heard of chronic shame? Well, let me tell you, honey, chronic shame is how the world is run. Someone calls you a phobe of some type. They want you to be embarrassed. They want you to think you're scared of something you shouldn't be scared of. Chronic shame is different than natural shame. Natural shame is just feeling bad for something you did and needing to correct it. Whereas chronic shame is a part of you that is preyed on day in and day out by other people or yourself for believing that your very existence is wrong. This is why words like anti are so good at shutting people up. Remember when they called everyone anti when they didn't want to get inoculations? The Nazis actually used a term called Gegenrazi, and it actually meant anti, meaning the people that the Nazis judged were anti-Aryan race. And then we move into this century, alright? And people are encouraged to call one another anti-vaxxers, and they simultaneously clump that group of anti-vaxxers into somehow being Nazis. yet they're using similar wording to what the Nazis used. Do you see how the cycle continues? How people's minds can be programmed? And think of how many people still use these ad hominem fallacies thinking they've made a point, when in actuality an ad hominem fallacy just shuts down the conversation.
Butter, I think the lesson we can learn from this as a civilization is when people use ad hominem fallacy, just walk away. They're not people who want to discuss, they're people who want to hurt because they're hurting and they should be isolated underneath a dark tundra. Bye.
These were the type of high schoolers at these One Nation protests. Look what they're being taught.
Fill the fuck up! Kill her!
So you can see they're not mentally sane, these people. They've been taught this hatred, this radical socialist communist ideology to hate the West, hate Australia, now attack One Nation. They've been indoctrinated and they want to use political violence to then call you the fascist while they're calling to kill Pauline Hanson. These people are insane and the schools need a good look at because this is what is going on in our schools.
Wait, why pour it out? What if I fucked with it? Did a bunch of weird experiments and bullshit to it? Let it sit out for days? No. Months? No. Years. I'll cut myself off from the world. They won't understand, they're not ready. I could try it with skim, whole, 2%, so many permutations, so many possible outcomes. What if I separated the chunky parts from the liquid parts and messed around with the temperature and shit? Everybody knows that milk plus time equals gross. But what if you pushed past that? What if it gets good again? What if it gets better than milk? What if there's something past butter? But what? I feel like I'm reaching out in the darkness to grab something I can't see, but I'm afraid of what I'll find. Day 44. First cheese. It smells extremely weird and made me shit 3 times. My body isn't built to handle it. No one's is. The only logical thing to do is put it in every dish there is on Earth.
This man was getting out of a gas station when he was able to capture this strange video. This black cat at a distance seemed extremely transparent, something he's never seen before. Could this be an optical illusion or something more sinister is happening?
You know, one of my sister-in-laws, it could be one of my best friends, and it could be me. So just here to support.
We are hearing her. We see that she tried everything. And I really do believe that she went into a state of psychosis.
It felt like the system failed her. She was begging for help and no one was there. I don't know if us being here will make her feel any better, but I mean, she's looking.